What? Hi, my name is Lacey, and welcome to my recap of The Big D, Episode 3. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like my content, and I am also recapping Temptation Island, Love Island, and Love Always. And Too Hot to Handle's coming back, and Love is Blind is coming back soon. So make sure to subscribe because I'm going to recap all of those, and let's get into it. Last week, Ariel was very upset because Blair basically called her out in front of everybody at the elimination. So the next day, Ariel is talking to David, and he's saying that she kind of needed Blair to kind of be blunt about, we are not getting back together, we are not rekindling, please move on, in order for her to kind of make that break and move on. That hum is my AC. It's trying to shut off. Jillian, David's ex, is kind of watching, or not watching, but like overhearing. She is keeping tabs on them. They're in the kitchen. David is talking to Ariel in the kitchen. Jillian is out in the pool, kind of like creeping. And Jillian thinks that Ariel is not good enough for David. She thinks Ariel is fake. Jillian doesn't understand why Ariel is upset for being saved, although it's not the fact that she was saved that she's upset about. It's the fact that Blair called her out in front of everybody. So, come on, Jillian. And Jillian even talks smack about her ex, David, and says, oh, he's just excited to have attention from somebody. Rude. Maybe they're actually hitting it off. I don't understand why Jillian is calling Ariel fake, because Ariel has kind of been talking to David for a while, and they seem to, at least, if nothing else, have a decent kind of friendship and rapport going. So, back off. David says that Jillian doesn't want to rekindle their relationship, but she also doesn't want to let him go and have him date other people. So he's in this weird, like, I'm trying to move on, but you're not letting me, and you're getting mad at me for trying to move on, but you don't want to get back together with me, so what's the deal? What do you want me to do? Then, as promised, the doorbell rings, and in comes a new D. This is Angelique. She's 35. She's been divorced for 8 months after a 14-year marriage. She's from Utah, and she grew up in a Mormon upbringing, and that was, her marriage was Mormon, and so she found it very stifling, and she couldn't be herself, and so she left the Mormon religion. It was a process, but she left the Mormon religion, and that also meant divorcing her now ex. She is very, very loud, very, very bubbly, very energetic. She seems like a woo-woo girl all the time. Party animal. David is kind of into her. However, Angelique beelines it straight to Dean because she likes his flamboyant fashion sense. And she is into him hard. It is time for Dr. Jada to come and give the couples, the Islanders, the people, the cast members, I don't know, what do we call them? The divorcees, the Ds. So she comes, and then it's time for the next challenger exercise. So they all it's about physical and sexual chemistry. So they all pair up with somebody who's not their ex, and it's a dancing challenge. And so they like slow dance together. It's very awkward, and I don't quite understand it. But there's some slow dancing, there's some twerking, there's some fast dancing in couples, and it's very strange. However, the winners, the two couples who win the challenge and are safe from elimination, are Dee Dee and Blair, and Angelique and Devin. And as a reward for their winning, they get a date, and that date is sunset horseback riding on the beach. But record scratch. Devin says, oh, I would love to go on this date with you, Angelique. However, my ex, Alexis, who is standing over there, one of her bucket list marriage date items was Sunset Beach horseback riding. So he says, I just can't go on this date with Alexis right here, and I'm doing it and she's not, when this was something we promised to do together. So he sacrifices his spot in the date and safety and elimination. And so Angelique instead invites Dean on the date, and he is very, very happy to go with her. And Alexis is very moved that Devin turned down the date and put himself up for elimination for her. Also, we find out that at the next elimination, 2 people are going to be eliminated, 1 guy and 1 gal. The pressure is on. On the horseback riding date, Dee Dee and Blair are having a lovely time, and Dean and Angelique are also having a lovely time. However, they're very different kinds of times. So Dee Dee and Blair are very kind of reserved and having serious conversations, whereas Angelique and Dean are laughing and carrying on and very kind of loud. And Dee Dee and Blair are a little annoyed with the other couple because they're trying to have like a serious, meaningful conversation and connection. And meanwhile, the others are like screaming and laughing. But they're hitting it off, and I guess that's all that matters. Back at the house, Mims is saying that he's pretty much over the experience once Allie, his ex, left, because the bulk of what he was there for was to not mend, but work out whatever happened there with Allie. And now that she's gone, he's kind of like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm not interested in dating any of the people here, so I'm kind of just here. So he ends up going to take a nap. I feel that. I like naps. Ariel and David are still talking, or are talking again in the kitchen, and Ariel's kind of talking about like, oh, Blair was her first. David said he was Jillian's first time, and they were talking about like sex lives and kind of stuff like that. Jillian, again, still creeping, still listening. At the pool, she's like, I don't like it. And she tells Takor and somebody else, I think it was Alexis who was there, and Jillian says that how upset she is. And Takor, what? He says, Jillian, I think you're holding on to something, and I think you need to work that out or let it go. That is the smartest thing that Takor has said, and I don't like admitting it. So what happened with Jillian and David, their relationship? So they were married, and then COVID hit, and then they were living together, and I think there was jobs lost or money situation, I think, going on. And then her father passed away. And so she was going through a lot of emotional turmoil. And that is when David left, because he couldn't stay in the same living arrangement with her anymore. So she feels like he abandoned her when she most needed him, and he never kind of apologized or said why he left. So now here we are at the retreat. So that's all in the past. And now they're finally coming together and talking about all that stuff that happened in the past. And she's yelling at David. Jillian is yelling at David for flirting with Ariel and crossing boundaries. And he's like, why is this crossing boundaries? And Jillian says, because David didn't put Jillian's feelings into account. And really, he shouldn't have to, because they are broken up. And that is what this is for. So he shouldn't have to consider Jillian's feelings when talking to Ariel. And honestly, the conversation was fine. There was no boundaries crossed if they were fine talking about it. Jillian finally explains like everything and how she felt when he left the marriage or the living situation after her father died. And he apologizes finally, and he validates her feelings. He says how he didn't communicate what he was feeling and what he needed, and that being away from her was torture for him, and she didn't know that, and so she thought it was easy for him. And so a lot of this is now coming out, and they're kind of crying and hugging and kind of okay, and they kind of come to a mutual understanding that they're not going to rekindle, but they're okay. Alexis and Devin have a little chat, and Alexis is still moved by Devin's act about the date, decline of the date, and so she kind of admits that she still loves him, and he kind of admits, sort of through teasing, that he still has feelings for her. And they tease each other, and she kind of walks away like, so we'll see what happens there, if they rekindle or what. I'm curious. After the dates, the couples, Dee Dee and Blair and Angelique and Dean, come back to the house, and it's evening now, and there's a big dinner for everybody, and Takor is kind of being emo and just like sitting at the table drinking, and everybody's like, what's your problem? What's wrong? And Dee Dee comes over and he's like, nothing. I just spent like so much time cooking and you were on a date with that piece of shit. And it was like, where did that come from? Dee Dee says that Takor is definitely different when he's drinking, so this is not gonna bode well. Takor and Dee Dee get into it, and Dee Dee doesn't want him to bring negativity to the experience, and Takor does not want anybody touching her or talking to her, that she's not on his side. I don't, again, it's like these people are broken up. They don't have to be on anybody's side. So Dee Dee is free to date Blair. He's free to touch her if she gives him consent. So you know what? Takor can back off. He starts crying, like in that drunk crying, like, and it seems kind of forced or fake, or I don't know. I don't trust Takor. I don't like him at all. So he's crying, and Dee Dee just kind of stands her ground, and then he flips. And he turns into, oh, well, you suck. You're a bitch anyway. I don't want to be with you. He says she's an asshole. It seems like Takor's true colors are coming out. He's manipulative. No one can have you. Oh, I'm crying. Oh, nope. Fuck you, Dee Dee. Fuck you, Dee Dee. And Casey is watching all this go down and is not having it. She's like mad, and I would be too. So Casey pulls Takor away from the situation because he is ready to fight somebody. He keeps saying he's gonna fight somebody, most likely Blair, because Blair was the one who went on the date with Dee Dee. So he's like walking around drinking, get another drink, and Casey's like, how about some water? He's like, no, I'm gonna get a drink. And she's like, okay, well, how about come over here? And she brings David, Takor, and I think it was Mims, and has a conversation with Takor. And Casey is like, Takor, you need to chill, okay? And eventually, Casey's able to kind of calm that flame a little bit, Takor, and calm his ass down. But it was touchy for a while there. I didn't like it. The next day is elimination day, and everybody's pretty tense about it, especially after the night before. Blair is trying to talk to Ariel. They're like two brick walls at each other, and the communication skills are shiza. So they're kind of talking, and Blair's like, okay, Ariel, look, you are going to get eliminated if you are not into anybody else. So are you into anybody else? Any other guys? Because I am not gonna rekindle with you, so the only other option is another guy. Are you into any other guys? And Ariel refuses to answer the question. She's just like, well, I don't know. I can. And Blair isn't really coming at it from a calm place. He's very aggro, and so I think that's why she's not understanding the fact that he's trying to help her, because he's coming at it from such an angsty place. But if he said, hey, look, you are going to get eliminated if you're not into anybody. So are you into anybody? If not, we're going to send you home. Super easy. I'd be like, oh, okay, well then yes, I am into somebody, because please don't send me home. But Ariel's not doing that. She refuses to answer the question and is very wishy-washy, and fine. At the elimination, the girls start, and then the guys start, and they chat about who they're gonna eliminate. The girls go first, and their two top picks are Takor and Mims. Takor because of his outburst at dinner and his drinking and his unbecoming behavior with Dee Dee. And Mims because he's just not feeling anybody in the house, and what the bulk of what he had to work through was with Allie, who is now outside of the house. Those are the two people that the women are talking about. On the guy's side, they're talking about Jillian and Ariel. Ariel because Blair's just like, I don't know what she's here for. I think she's still into me, and I don't want to rekindle that. So if she's not into anybody here, send her home. And they're talking about Jillian because they're saying that Jillian is more into David and not really talking to any of the other guys, in the sense of maybe starting a relationship or having a connection with them. So when everybody comes back, the eliminations are revealed. The ladies eliminate. I was voting for Takor because I don't like that man. I think he is toxic. But they eliminate Mims because he needs to go chat with Allie and figure that out. And then the guys, in a shocking twist actually, get rid of Jillian because of her issues with David, and then apparently she wasn't talking to any of the other guys, so they weren't really feeling much connectivity there. So Jillian is very upset and she thinks the wrong person went home. Mims, however, was very jovial and very calm about the situation because he was ready to go, I think. But Jillian's upset and David goes and sees her out, and they kind of have a little more of a resolution, a little bit more closure after their big blow up earlier in the day. So they give each other hugs and they're ready, I think. They're ready to move on from each other and go their separate ways. That is it for my recap of episode 3 of The Big D. What do you think of the series so far? I like Blair and Dee Dee together. Takor, I cannot stand. I kind of like Alexis and Devin, but they're exes, so I don't know if they're good for each other. What do you think about this season? Let me know down below. And if you're into Temptation Island, Love Island, or Love Always, check out my playlists for those. And thank you for watching. I will see you next time.